Luke 22:3 says that Satan entered Yehuda or Judas. Was it part of him or all of him? As in, he was possessed for that moment by Halel? Yeah, but it is also possible because the way he's called, only Judas and the false Messiah are called the son of perdition. Perdition in Greek is apoleia, which is where we get the word Apollyon, which in Hebrew is Abaddon. And that is the angel of the abyss who is coming out in the fifth trumpet. So it wouldn't be Hillel, it would be Azazel. Some believe that even though Azazel is trapped in the abyss, he's able to communicate or possess people in this reality. So it is possible that it was Azazel, the one who entered Judas. Um, and that was a clear representation of the false Messiah. No doubt Judas was influenced by Hillel, but what entered him could have been Azazel. Because remember that in Judaism, well, let me see how to put it. When it comes to Yom Kippur, Yahweh would ask for two male goats that look the same. One would be sacrificed for Yahweh, the other one would be left free in the desert, in the wilderness, to Azazel. But it wouldn't be killed. Yahweh didn't ask for it to be killed because that would have been a sacrifice to Azazel. However, in the Talmud, which is the Torah Sheba'al Peh, the Torah from the mouth of Baal, he gave them the interpretation according to the letter, but not even. He gave them doctrines of demons. And one of those is the through the fear that they had that the male goat that would be left free with all the sins of the people would come back to Israel. They were so afraid that if that male goat would come back, that the sins would come back to them. So they decided to make a law and say, all right, take it to the cliff and throw it. So it would fall and burst open. Now, that was their law according to tradition, the Torah Sheba'al Peh. And that is amazing because one of the two, either, I mean, if you believe the Almighty is the creator and he controls everything, then if he says, leave, let the male goat go free, if there was an issue with the male goat coming back, then he would um make something or say something to stop it, or he could stop it, right? He's almighty, he can control it. And if he told him, let it free, then it wouldn't come back. On the other hand, um, if the male goat coming back with the sins of the people meant that they were going to be sinful again or had the sin on them again, then once again, that shows the lack of power in either the mighty one they worshipped or the rituals they held. But anyways, when Mashiach came and Pilate put Mashiach and Barabbas next to each other, that was as the priest put in the two male goats that looked the same. Barabbas means son of the father. So there was a connection in Matthew. There's one of the translations of Matthew actually called um, Barabbas Yeshua. So imagine if that was also his. So Pilate put them two and asked everybody who they would want to allow to be free. And they asked for Barabbas and they asked for Mashiach to be sacrificed. So that was like in Yom Kippur, one would be sacrificed for Yahweh, in this case, Yahushua, the Son of the Father Almighty. And then another one would be allowed to be free, Barabbas, the Son of the Father of perdition, pretty much. So after he goes, that part of the scriptures, according to the letter, even is fulfilled. But then Yahweh allowed the fulfillment of their tradition because they who took away the name Yahweh and even from Yahudah, so they would call themselves Yahudim. When Yehudah comes, or Yahudah, Judas, he eats of the bread of matzah, and that's how he pretty much is possessed, because he wasn't supposed to eat of Pesach because of his intentions. So that's when um the enemy goes within him, and he goes and betrays Mashiach. Then we read in one part of scriptures, and I guess this is another thing that a lot of people have issues with, so I'll just explain it right away. In one part of scriptures, he says that he hanged himself. In another part of scripture, he says that he fell and burst open. His insides came all around, all out of his body, and that is in the book of Acts. So some believe that there's a contradiction, and there are several opinions. There is one opinion I've heard, I don't think is the most common one, but one opinion that hanging would be a term also used for those who would throw themselves on a sword. They would hang on the sword. And in that case, then the belly would open, and all the insides would come out. And that's one way in which some interpret both parts, which seem as contradictions to some. Another interpretation would be that he was hanging, and in the heat of Israel, after a while, um, he would burst open from the um, well, the way the body decays. But another explanation that I do believe makes a lot of sense, and is the one that I mainly explain in the book, is that he went and he hanged himself in Jerusalem after betraying Mashiach. But since there was a feast, Pesach, there was a prohibition for a dead body to be within the walls of Jerusalem. So if they would find a body, they had to get rid of it, dispose of it. So that means that they would have found the body of Judas, and they would have thrown it over the wall, because there was a part where they would do such things, pretty much the garbage, like in Gehinom, which is the name given to a well, the name given to hell, but it comes from an actual place in Israel that was always on fire, and where they would throw um whatever they were disposing of. So it is said that they would have thrown the body of Judas, and that's when it went down and burst open. So pretty much the Jews, the Yehudim, ended up fulfilling their law, their tradition, with the body of Judas as the other male goat for Azazel, by throwing it from the wall of the city of Jerusalem. And that's how those two things are said in those two important parts of scriptures.